Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, Midnight Mando, live on Yes Have Some Podcast. And boy, do I got a big surprise right off the bat. You're not going to see this one coming. Hello, everybody.
Oh!
Welcome to Yes Have Some Podcast. Welcome to Midnight Mando, the Mandalorian after show. It's been 1 week since we were together last, and I'm just excited because Jacob Walsh is here.
I am here. Hi, how's it going?
Good, good. Now, have you seen Star Wars?
It's
Do you know about it?
I'm having a good week with Star Wars.
It's a
It's
prerequisite.
an up on the roller coaster the last couple of weeks been okay.
It's been good. It's been good. Hey, by the way, before we get started, as always, make sure if you're having any audio technical difficulties, can't hear us, let us know in the live chat. We're going to be welcoming everybody into the chat. They're already catching me off guard in there. There's a lot going on. But we got to start off before we say hi to Troy and Ryan. It's Abigail Gardner's birthday. Happy birthday, everybody.
Happy birthday, Abby.
Happy birthday.
Yay!
Happy
Even the child
birthday.
came out to say happy
Happy birthday. Now, we are excited about The Mandalorian. We're not going to spend too much time getting into anything else, but I do want to check on everybody and see how your weeks are going. So, Troy, how are you doing this week? Leading into The Mandalorian, what's going on in your world that you think our audience would find interesting? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Craig Goldberg, there's a lot going on in the world right now, as you are well aware.
Okay.
And I think that we should talk about Mandalorian.
Okay, fine. I just didn't know, maybe you had like a new restaurant or like you posted something about In-N-Out Burger on Instagram. I thought maybe we would talk about that.
Yeah, man. In-N-Out Burger opened in Colorado. It's working its way out toward you all in Atlanta.
Colorado,
very
so close,
slowly.
so close.
Can't wait.
Ryan Dole, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. We got a lot to unpack in this episode, so
Yeah.
I say let's get to it.
We're going to go to the
No
comments.
one cares about Canada.
No, I care about Canada. I really do.
I care.
People seem to be very impressed with our wardrobe this evening. That's all I'm going to say about that. Owen Triolo, everyone. Oh, not going to read that. We're not acknowledging the elephant in the room. I'm fucking it up already.
You're messing up the
I'm
whole
messing up.
thing.
Hey,
Wow, dude.
Ray Cameron says
no chill.
I'm no
Zero
chill.
chill.
I get so excited. I'm so happy Jake is here.
Oh,
Holy
thank you.
shit.
Thank you, Ray
Thank you,
Cameron.
Ray Cameron.
Oh, it's very nice of Ray Cameron to say
Yeah.
that.
That was
I'm
such
also
a-
happy that Jake is here.
Yeah, it's good
Thank you,
stuff.
Ryan.
too.
Let's
Oh,
go
you're
ahead
welcome, Jacob.
and talk about The Mandalorian. Now, what we do every week, if you're joining us for the first time, we want you to subscribe to the channel. We want to let you know. Here we go. Who's doing
Sorry,
it?
everybody.
Whose is it? Whose is it?
We said you got to mute it.
I don't know. I thought I got a birthday
blame
pass.
No birthday passes.
No birthday pass.
We do a roundtable discussion. We talk about this week's episode of The Mandalorian. Tonight, we are talking about The Siege, Chapter 12, which is Episode 4 of Season 2 of The Mandalorian, directed by Grief Karga. Is that his name? Grief Karga himself? Carl Weathers?
You can tell who it's directed by because he put himself in the episode way too much.
right.
Does anyone else
And fix
imagine
that.
him directing it like his character off Arrested Development?
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
You got a stew cooking. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Acting coach.
Poor Chubbs. No, we love Carl Weathers. He did a fantastic job. We're going to get into it. I didn't catch who wrote this week's episode. Is it all Jon Favreau? Did he write everything this season?
I think Favreau,
I
Favreau
think so.
and Filoni both get writing credit, but I don't remember on this one offhand.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So we're going to get into it. What we do, first of all, before we get the roundtable, is we give credits. And since Abigail's the birthday girl,
Yeah.
you're going to start us off. How many, wait, where are my sound effects? I need new sound effects.
Wow.
I really do.
Star Tours.
I
Yeah.
can't find the other one. Abigail.
Weak bell. I hope I can follow up.
Wait, here it is. I found the Star Tours chime. Thank you.
Yes.
Abigail.
Better.
So appropriate.
How many
All right,
credits?
out of 10 credits, I give this episod 8 credits.
8 credits. Okay.
Being a little bit frugal. Is
that
I feel
frugal?
like for my personal taste. Well, I've given.
on
I
your
think I gave the
birthday,
first
too.
2 a 10, and I gave the last one like a 9, and now it's going to an 8. This was an episode that I enjoyed the action, etc., but there wasn't as many little cute creatures for me, which is one thing that I always look for. And honestly, I don't think it had quite as much going towards the main. Well, you know what? I want to say that, but it really did. I liked it, but it's not my number one that's come out for this season so far. But I thought it was very enjoyable, and it felt like a Universal Studios ride or Disney ride.
Calling a Mandalorian show a Universal Studios ride is just there's so
That's
much.
That's what I call every theme park. I felt like you're like in the seat of like a roller coaster.
No, I got what you're saying. It felt,
now there's like Baby Yoda like spitting into Jake's mouth.
What?
What happened there? With that segue,
There's like
Ryan.
an inside joke thing there.
Ryan.
Let's just move on. Let's move on.
Great start.
There's a pandemic. Nobody's spitting into anybody's mouth.
Dude.
Ryan, how many credits?
I give this one 9 credits because it's also like a Universal ride for me.
Thank you, Ryan, for seconding that.
Jake.
Yeah.
How many credits?
You know, I earlier gave it less, and I was thinking maybe like 7.
Okay.
But then I thought, you know, the first time I watched the episode and they mentioned the M count, I was like, down. But by the time I got to the second viewing, the M vote knocked it up to, I think, 8.
Okay. So
Because now I'm thinking maybe making the prequels, you know, just going with it is maybe the best thing, that is maybe the most badass thing they can do.
Okay. And like Jake, you mentioned, we've been talking about Star Wars a lot lately. You've had a week of you've been watching the prequels. You've been watching this. You've been doing
Little bit
it
of
all.
everything, yeah.
Jake's been doing it all. So cool. So wait, did you give the number though?
8.
Okay, we're over 8. We're at an 8. Okay.
8.
Who's next? Troy Benjamin. How many credits?
I'm going to give it 9 credits. I feel like because it was a strong and solid episode, it was not the episode that I was expecting right now. Opening up a few mystery boxes or revealing a few mystery boxes, which was unexpected. But I enjoyed it. And I'm very anxious to talk to Jake about the M count thing, because I feel like they didn't say the actual word for people specifically like Jake.
Yeah.
So that they didn't bump on it immediately.
It's tough. I mean, it's a tough thing. Like there are people who are hardcore Star Wars fans who want nothing to do with the prequels and any even mention. By the way, can we admit it would have been way cooler if Qui-Gon was like, "You should see his M count. Check out the M count on that kid."
Yeah. I'm totally into
His M
Anakin.
count's
His M
cool.
count is huge.
Okay. And,
When you're an M queen, that's your Anakin's your boy, right?
I'm gonna give this episode. I'm gonna say, can you do halves? I think
You can do whatever you want.
It's my show. I think I'll end the show. No, I'm gonna say 8.5. 8.5 credits. I also was surprised at this episode because actually I was least excited about this episode so far this season, because I knew it was going to be this adventure. They were teasing Grief Karga, Cara Dune were back. I like those characters a lot, but I felt like it was going to be a side adventure that gets in the way of us meeting, Ahsoka. And as where last week really leaned into like the Clone Wars stuff, this week felt like it was leaning more into the overall mythology. There's prequel stuff, there's sequel trilogy stuff, there's cookies. And,
Which is important.
No Wookiees.
Yeah, super important.
Cookies and no Wookiees. That doesn't sound like anything I want any part of. But I'll say 8.5 because the biker scouts.
Oh, dude,
no matter
so
what,
cool.
no matter what, I was like, those things were badass.
Yeah.
So what we'll do now, I want to get the round table going. Troy, I'm going to throw it to you first. Overall impressions of this episode, especially like compared to what we've seen so far this season. You mentioned it wasn't what you were expecting, so let's dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting. I mean, I didn't expect for us to immediately see Ahsoka Tano in the next episode, like for them to just light speed and there we go, there's Ahsoka. I didn't expect that to happen. But the fact that they're kind of opening up the mythology, everything has been so kind of tightly knitted, like our sweaters, so well.
What sweaters?
What sweater?
Sweaters. But the fact that they're introducing this kind of new possible overarching thing, which is cool. I'm not mad at it. I just didn't expect it at this point in time. Like if you're gonna do this, I figure you do this in the first episode right out of the gate. And it's kind of cool that it happened a few deep in. So
Right.
I'm also very glad that Carl Weathers didn't reveal the entire plot on Twitter the night before because
He
I
was
think
trying.
mistaken.
He was trying. I saw him tweet.
Like-
He's like, "Tomorrow, the adventure of Grief Karga and Cara Dune and the Mandalorian." I was like, Carl, what are you doing?
No. We don't
Then he
even
tried
want
to fight
title.
Rocky at the end of the tweet. I'll take
I mean,
Balboa
I
again.
had no
Don't let him
idea.
say that stuff about me. You don't look. Okay, sorry.
And then they were friends by the end of that.
Yeah.
And then they were friends.
Hey.
They went to the beach and had a
Did a
freeze frame
high
moment together.
Hey, listen, it's 2020, and Sylvester Stallone is in the MCU and the DC universe, and Carl Weathers is in Star Wars. So something crazy is happening in the world. Yeah, so I agree with you, Troy. There's some, as they say in Seinfeld, there's some matzo balls that they left hanging out there. Abigail, overall first impressions of the episode.
Yeah, I'd have to say that matzo balls were definitely hanging. When it comes to the things that I look for, well, I know we're going to kind of dig into that a little bit with some of the things that were mentioned, M count, etc. Kind of the lab stuff that was explored. So yeah, we'll get into that later. But for me personally, I really enjoyed watching Baby Yoda, watching him eat cookies, which I know we're going to kind of get into later. But honestly, watching him
Apparently, we're getting into a lot later.
What Wookiees and Cookies Part 2 were making macaroons, I guess.
Oh yeah,
making
yeah.
macaroons. That was some of the stuff that really stuck out to me the most was watching Baby Yoda go into a classroom and interact with other kids and use the Force for the first time, and how he decided to use it was adorable and very entertaining for me. Yeah, the stuff with Cara Dune and the stuff with Carl Weathers, those it's big stuff, and it's stuff that's kind of it felt like it's honestly just a lot of big important plot stuff coming out in this episode.
Right. So basically, let's start there with the plot. We know that Mando is on his way to Corvus, right? He's got to find Orokosaki. That's not who he's going to look for. Ahsoka Tano.
Crossover.
That's the crossover we need. But the Razor Crest isn't going to make it. It needs repairs. So they go back to Navarro. Now, Navarro is the planet first introduced to us, I believe, in the beginning of Mandalorian. And you get this really great scene early on in the episode. Cara Dune taking on... It's revealed she's the marshal now. She's the marshal for this part of Navarro. So she goes in, cleans house. What do we think of that? Jake, what's your opinion of Cara Dune?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think you should give the planet its respect and call it by its full name, Dave Navarro.
Big Dave Navarro.
Abby made that joke earlier.
Did she? I couldn't even finish it without laughing.
I love that.
I mean, it's all great to watch all that stuff, but I said this earlier, it feels almost as if way more time has passed on this planet than I feel like could have. Everything is so different once they get back to that town. I'm like, how much time has passed here?
Do we know how much time has passed between season 1 and season 2? Like, is there any...
I don't know, but in this place, it feels like 10 years has passed.
Right. They've
Does
erected...
anybody else? Yeah, there's like statues and everything's nice now. And I'm like, oh, everybody, like, what is happening here?
Right.
I mean, we talked about that in the first episode, that there was a passage of time. It's sort of ill-defined, but yeah, there was enough time for Mando to train with his pack, and so I mean, at least a year or two, I would imagine.
It has to be. Abby, Cara Dune, kicking ass, saving a ferret,
throwing elbows, and saving a ferret and feeding that little cute creature. That was adorable, and I very much enjoyed it. Her physical presence, like on screen, she kind of commands the room, and it's very awesome seeing her as that character. I won't go into people's opinions of her. But I will say
I said don't do it.
Shining, we said we wouldn't, but she shone
You're
brightly
breaking all
in
the
this
rules
episode.
Ryan, Cara Dune, opening scene.
Well, my thick Star Wars girlfriend is like a total badass, and yeah, that's it. We got to see her do that. What was it? She did like an arm toss into a fireman's carry and used him as a human shield.
Yeah.
That's a little bit, by God, Stone Cold coming in here. Right? So it was pretty cool. I don't know. I like Cara Dune. I think she's a badass.
Right. Yeah. Troy, any thoughts on this opening opening stuff?
Yeah, I thought it was a good scene. I was, the Ponda Baba race. I don't remember what those guys are called, but it was cool to see them sort of setting shop in the armorer's abandoned space.
Yeah, where's the armor? Where is the armorer?
Well, last we saw her,
moved.
she was surrounded by all those troopers, and she got rid of most of them.
Yeah.
But I think they cut away, and we don't see what happens to her. So it's
Well,
it's
she's a
possible
real-
I
that-
think she'll show up.
Yeah, we'll
She's
find-
according to the Mandos from last week, she's like a religious zealot. She's probably hiding in a cave somewhere, eating
Yeah.
Doritos.
On exile. Yeah.
She has eczema. She might.
They all do. That's why they wear the
It's
mask.
very dry. It's very dry. So let's see. Mando shows up. They're going to repair the Razor Crest. And immediately, I do like how Mandalorian does this, where it's like, you know that the side mission is coming. A lot of this show plays out like a video game. There was moments tonight that reminded me so much of Shadows of the Empire. Wait, is that the one? The N64 one?
Yeah.
Shadows of the Empire?
Yep.
Specifically where they had to go up the elevator and like Mando jetpacks to the top and throws off the stormtrooper. I was like, I've done that before. It was great. So this is where they bring the child. They bring him to this school. They walk through the town. There's a statue erected to IG-11, which is amazing. He's like, I love that. What a character arc for that guy. It
Yeah,
was
he's
great.
like in hero stance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, he's kind of like Jebediah Springfield, right? He's got the one leg up.
Exactly.
God, the town's kids are just vandalizing the IG-11 statue.
Yeah, stealing his head.
There's this really cool scene. You know, they mentioned that school on Tatooine, and they didn't show it. But now I like Star Wars school. Like, show me kids at school in Star Wars. That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
because then you got a droid teaching them, talking about God knows what. I was reading some article today. Apparently, he was talking about something. I don't know. What was he talking about? Or she? I think it was a female voiced droid. I don't know. Anyways,
I'm not sure. Yeah, there were a few name drops in there, but I need to go back and rewatch it.
there's so much
and
that happens.
Was that the cantina that was shot up in the first season, right? That they've converted into the school.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I guess I didn't pick up on that.
I don't know. I think that was implied, but
Right.
yeah.
It's like
Abigail,
that old nightclub I went to in my 20s, and now it's like a family restaurant. It's really
Yeah.
fucking weird.
place used
Right,
to be
they
way
converted it.
Great
Exactly.
Reuben sandwich.
These walls
So
could talk.
I think this is one of the great scenes of the episode. They leave the child there. They put him in. There's a seat available for him. He sits
Just one
down.
open seat. Yeah.
Abby,
Yeah.
talk us through this scene.
Well, I want to say that the droid that's teaching the class is not paying very close attention to what the students are doing, because they can have snacks apparently during the lesson.
Yes.
This is Star Wars. They're allowed to have snacks, I guess.
Yeah.
I was allowed to have
That's
snacks
okay.
in high school. That's pretty cool. It's a really cute scene seeing him come and integrate with the class and sit in that little seat. And then seeing him making eye contact with the kid eating cookies next to him, those little blue macaroons, not only made me want those cookies, but I understood where the child's coming from, like trying to move them over. And you see, like, he's used his force powers to like save lives and do heroic, epic things, but just to get those cookies that he really wanted was extremely sweet, and I love that moment.
Yeah. Somebody said, John Bartley in the chat says, last time they showed a school, Anakin killed all the kids.
Oh my god.
I imagine that the conversation, we can't understand what the child is saying, but I imagine he sits down and he looks, he goes, hey, what's up? I'm the child. And I'd like one of those cookies. And the kid's like,
Yeah.
no. And he's like, oh, you should see my M count. I'm taking those cookies from you. Troy, any thoughts on the school scene?
School scene was great, and it's one of those things where you see him as the child being this tiny little baby, even though he's 50-some years old, and it's like, he's just a baby. You're gonna leave him with these advanced kids? Okay, sure. Whatever's gonna happen.
Gonna learn.
He's a
Hey,
50-year-old
man.
baby.
He's in the gifted program.
The baby almost fixed the Razor Crest at the cold open.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the opening.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of the entire
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
I was
Let-
saving that
let's
for
go back.
So dangerous.
Damn it.
Let's go
No.
back. Let's go back.
Dude, yes. It's like a baby Groot moment.
That was. I felt like that
Oh,
was
yeah.
that was very baby Groot. Having him. The opening scene, I guess, is they're trying to repair the Razor Crest, and Mando is
Yeah.
is
Put the blue one where the red one was.
yeah. And I like sometimes like I was like, does he know colors? like,
But his little coos and noises were like the most adorable thing.
A little
Super
gremlin.
cute.
He's a little mogwai, that guy.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely there's more gizmo in him than anything. Anyways, okay, well that was cute. We can touch on that more later if needed, but it was kind of a just kind of a fun little cold open. I really enjoyed that. They don't reference it later in the episode. If it was like a DC movie, it'd be like, oh, remember earlier with the red and blue wires, like, and it would become a
Let's see it.
plot point.
Why did you say the red wire?
They're going to bring that up like 5 sequels later and some other.
The blue wire's name was Martha. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
So back into the school. So they leave the child there, and then basically there's this. By the way, I came up with a joke tonight. You guys want to hear it? I made up a Star Wars joke.
Sure.
What kind of sunglasses do they wear in Star Wars? Ray-Buns. Okay. There was a little girl in the classroom that had Ray-Buns.
She did.
Shite.
Doesn't make it funny though.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. What's next, Jake?
Okay. All right. 2 midi-chlorians walk into a bar.
All right. Rise of Skywalker.
45 minutes. The next
So okay,
45.
let's get into the mission. Thank you. Ray Cameron likes it. Hey, 2 points.
Don't, Ray.
Don't like it.
Don't do that.
Don't encourage.
So Grief Karga and Cara Dune explain to Mando that they go and meet up. They leave the child there, and we meet an old familiar friend. Do we not? Horatio Sands. What's the name of this character?
Mithril?
Spider-Man. He plays just Sands as Spider-Man.
The Mithril, who we last saw was Mando hunted him down in the opener of season 1, and he was put into carbonite. They keep threatening him they keep lording the carbonite over him. This poor man. I'll put you back. It's
How long is
It
his
kind of
sentence,
felt,
too?
yeah.
They kept taking like hundreds of years off of his sentence. Like, I'll take 100 years off your sentence.
another
Like,
50
how long?
Because that's species lift.
I like the I'll put you back into carbonite is the I will turn this car around of the Star Wars universe.
I liked when he had that when he like
Yeah.
moisture or something.
Yeah. I don't know. He did something.
I'm interested
He
in
blossomed,
what
wasn't it?
happened there.
He what?
Was that like
He
nervous
blossomed.
energy?
It was like he pollinated.
Yeah.
That's what moisture farmers rely on.
They talk about his moisture vest, so I'm assuming
Right.
a bunch
Yeah,
of that.
So basically, they explain to him like we've got this problem on Navarro. And this is where they get into the main plot of the episode. There's an Imperial, of course. There's an Imperial base that is
It's just a skeleton crew.
it's just a skeleton crew. That's what they always say. There's a couple like 3 stormtroopers probably.
How do they not know that it's not a skeleton crew though?
Well, because they think they have to lie to Mando to get him involved. Like he's like, I'll kill all these people.
There's just like 5 of them.
right,
fine.
right. So they explain to him there's this Imperial base, and if they can get rid of this base, then the entire planet will be safe and will become a trading port for the entire sector or whatever they said. So they get on the speeder and they head over to the Imperial base. I love it. I like the storyline that I think I'm most interested in Mandalorian right now is where is the Empire now after the fall of the Empire. After we watched the the Lego Holiday Special too. So after the Emperor is thrown into the thing, what we learned is in every timeline it happens no matter what. So there's no getting around it.
Yeah.
But I want to know where the Empire is. I want to know. Like I said last week, it feels like the Foot Clan in Ninja Turtles 2. Like they're kind of scattered. They got back to the meetup spot. They don't know what's going on, and I'm waiting for Super Shredder. Is what I'm saying. So, anyways, what now? They get there, and then shit starts hitting the fan. Abby, tell me what's up.
Well, I like that speeder ride over in particular. I thought that Cara Dune looked really cool with like her elbow out, and just all of that kind of reminded me of like if this was a ride, not at Universal Studios, but at Disney, we would probably take the speeder and then get on the Marauder and get to feel like everything happening. So I enjoyed that ride over. Yeah, and honestly, I thought that Horatio Sands, I thought his character kind of showed up a little bit and was very funny when they were like entering into that Imperial place when he's like talking about the thing he's using. He's like, this is for plumbing and such. You know,
yeah.
trying to get
His tool.
I thought, yeah, that was really.
I love.
I enjoyed that. And yeah, seeing the group go in on a mission where it's like they're not even all on the same page. They all have kind of different agendas. That's classic Star Wars, and I really enjoyed watching them go in and kick some ass. Like it was exciting. It's great action.
Right.
I thought it was awesome. Horatio Sanz, like you were saying, he's kind of that oddball out. He kind of reminded me of Rob Schneider in the '90s Judge Dredd a little bit. Like it kind of had a little bit of vibes of that. And then the Imperial base too, I thought was cool because it kind of reminded me of
No, we lost you there for a second. Will you say that again?
Oh, the base, the Imperial base.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Mustafar.
Oh,
where the Separatists were hanging out on the outside.
Right.
And then the inside it felt very classic Imperial.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Death Star hallways and that kind of stuff. So
right.
I thought that was totally cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go for it, Troy. Interested in your thoughts.
Oh, I was gonna say I enjoyed the the tractor beam deactivation lever that had no, basically whatever that was, maybe 6-inch wide platform with no railing, and they've forced Horatio Sands' character to go out there and deactivate the.
Yeah.
Like you go.
Yeah, and when they
we'll put you back in carbonite.
Now, when they first show up, they see the kind of transport trooper. What's the name of the vehicle? The
Marauder.
The Marauder. The M count.
Troop transport.
The troop transport. But I think it was different than the troop transport we saw earlier in The Mandalorian. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, and there's kind of this fight. Mando shoots up. They go up the elevator, and like I guess the whole plot is this is where it feels very video game like. It's like, how do we get past this level?
Press a button.
Yeah.
And somehow
the lava
will rise and will destroy the whole thing.
Yeah, and it feels like each episode is kind of like a level of a video game, which is fine with me. I think it's kind of a cool way to tell the story. But yeah, really, there's just like the sequencing is kind of fuzzy to me, but there's a lot of action. There's a lot of killing of stormtroopers, a lot of sneak. Star Wars heroes are at their best when they're sneaking around Imperial bases, trying not to be spotted by stupid stormtroopers.
Well, they find out really quickly that it's not a skeleton crew. Is basically what is happening.
Right.
Oh, there's things happening here.
Right. There's a lot happening there. So let's talk about these big plot point reveals. Troy, this is kind of what I wanted to get into with you. They come upon this room, and there are what look like, what are we going to call these things? Clone tanks? Snoke jars? They kind of purposefully clouded
It's the props department from Alien Resurrection.
That's
it's just the failed clones.
Right.
It's clearly they don't have to explain it. You can see that imagery and know immediately, like, okay, we're dealing with some sort of.
It's the original Aliens
thing.
ride from Disneyland.
Oh, dude, yeah. Or when Ripley pops out of the Great American Movie ride too. Yeah, but it's really cool, and like right off the bat, because like clones are such a part of my original thought was like, oh, this has something to do with like clones, like trooper clones, like Clone Wars and all that. But as they kind of get into it, and that scientist pops up on the hologram and explains what basically they had extracted this blood from the child, right? And they were going to use this blood to try to infuse these clones and create these new, I guess, force-sensitive beings of some sort. That's where the M count thing comes in. So they say that. I don't know the exact line. Was his M count was off the? Oh well,
he says they're not going to find another donor with that sort of M count.
Right, they're not going to find another donor, another organism with. So let's break it down. Let's get nerdy with it, which is my favorite Will Smith song. Midi-chlorians, they're back. They're here. They're real.
Get used to it.
Get used to it. That should be a shirt. Midi-chlorians are back. Get used to it. Abby, The Phantom Menace is one of your favorite Star Wars movies. I know you love the prequels. What is your feelings on what has traditionally been a little bit of a controversial subject? And if you don't know why, it's because the going thought...
You're trying to explain something that is often better left unexplained and seems more magical and mystical as a force that binds and holds everything together rather than you have actual numerical counts of cells or whatever in your body, which is what
it's like when someone brings science to church. You know, just piss everyone
Yeah,
off.
or when on Lost, when they're like, the whispers in the forest are all the people who used to live here. And you're like, oh, that's fucking lame. Like, you'd rather let your imagination fill it in or kind of think about it from your own perspective. But I'm mixed about it, honestly. I feel like the Mandalorian, the show, it's like, I feel like its job is to redeem some of the lesser loved and less understood parts of Star Wars. So it's like, this is a great challenge for them to take on midichlorians and make them important and make them something that we all care about, redeem them, so to speak.
Right.
So I'm willing to see where it goes. And I'm happy to see something from the Phantom Menace and see it's cool. You know, bring it back, make it valid, make it real. Let's embrace it.
Right. I've got a lot of thoughts on this. Ryan?
I'm also going to go with the prequel route, and we're going to do my usual episode tactical reference. Because
I think he said it. I think he said it.
He did.
Yeah.
There it is. Because they're doing the cloning as opposed to going to the original cloners on Camino. So it kind of tells you again where the Empire is, because their pocketbook isn't big enough to afford the good cloners to, to make that happen. Especially now, they're probably just using like dollar store cloning materials now at this point, which is why they can't get the M count into the clones that they want.
Right.
So that's kind of like where my whole first process, my thought process went to right away, because of course it does. But I kind of noticed they were doing it themselves as opposed to going to the experts.
I think Abby's
done.
Abby's leaving.
All right.
She didn't like that.
All right,
She's offended.
Ryan,
okay,
what
well,
the,
I'm
what
sorry
the fuck,
for bringing
Ryan?
up. Yeah, I'm so
I had
sorry
to
for
let a
bringing
cat
up
in.
Camino.
There's 2 cats clawing at the door. It's real life.
That's real life.
Infringing on our show.
Okay, so we've got two yeses for midichlorians. Troy, where are you on this?
I'm not a big fan of midichlorians, because the whole thing when you watch Star Wars: A New Hope is that the Force surrounds us, it binds us, it brings us all together. So every one of us is capable of being Force sensitive, right? So it's the Force is something that combines all living things.
Hold on, not to cut
universe.
you off. It's like when they tell you anybody could be president. It's not really. Like, there's some kids who clearly won't be president.
Yeah.
All right, keep going. Sorry.
Greedo is not using the Force. Okay.
Greedo's not using the Force.
Right.
But at the same time, I understand why they're setting things up here, because they're trying to infuse the midichlorians into some sort of a donor or some sort of if they're trying to infuse dark troopers or whatever it ends up being at the end, and they're trying to have these like Force sensitive soldiers. Okay, you have to get them to.
It's the only way to do it.
Force, yeah, exactly, and they're trying to explain that science, but the problem is that it's discounting the fact that, well, there was a little bit of wish fulfillment. We could have all been Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. We all wanted to use the Force. We all wanted to close our eyes and see this unseen thing that was in front of us. So it's tough. I mean, I've heard a lot of debates on, especially the prequels, where it's like, oh God, midichlorians ruined a whole lot of the lore, and it's like, well, it's science explaining something that, like you guys were talking about, church. It's like it's science trying to explain faith or a belief. Okay, sure. So I like it in the sense that it's giving us a good setup here for what the hell Moff Gideon is up to and what he's trying to do, and if this ties into like maybe those are Palpatine clones. I think it was Ray said pickled Palpatines. Like maybe, maybe this is how Emperor Palpatine finally gets that viable clone of himself that he then, can try to reclaim his throne. But it also
we find out that Palpatine's return, that he is a clone of Baby Yoda, that is where I will say, bye, Star Wars. You've gone too far.
Well, no,
you
I still
say
think,
that,
'cause
but
he
I
was
don't
like,
believe you.
No,
you
he was still
feel like
Captain Dangly Legs, right? In Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
So, I mean,
true.
if he was really that good of a clone, he wouldn't have had that stick up his ass carrying him around the temple.
Right, his
maybe-
crane.
I mean, Craig, would you walk away from this entirely if this ends up being Snoke? Like, if Baby Yoda is responsible for creating this kind of like gnarly looking clone Force sensitive that's super, super powerful because his M count's off the charts.
Right.
Is
no.
this kind of like the Snoke backstory, I guess is what I'm saying.
So, I mean, we're in season 2 of Mandalorian. We know it's after the Empire, pre-First Order. It makes sense to me that there's going to be major plot points that kind of lead... in the same way that Clone Wars and Rebels, padded and added to the lore of the prequels, I think a lot of the content that we get over the next couple of years is going to actually build up more lore into the sequel trilogy, and I think that's a good thing. So if they could give us a really great explanation on where the Empire started experimenting with using force sensitive beings to reclone or remake the Emperor or Cloak Snoke. Let's call him Cloak from now on. Whatever it ends up being, I think that's good. I was joking. I would not walk away, but I think we're gonna. I hope that they've got an end game. I hope that the child. I hope there's a moment where. I hope there's a holy shit moment somewhere down the line where, like, nobody saw this coming. Like this plot, this stuff that we've been seeing with the child is even bigger than we could have, imagined. I don't know what that would be, but I think the writing so far has been clever enough that they're going in that direction. But so I did want to mention that the character's name's Pershing. That's the scientist's name.
Dr. Pershing.
Dr. Pershing, and we see his hologram, and right after that conversation, Mando's like, I'm gonna go get the kid. I'm gonna get out of here.
Left him again.
So, and then he bails, right? In there's a whole thing that happens with the lava, like we talked. They're gonna blow up the base, right? Yeah. And they succeed in that. Mando takes off in the jetpack. They grab the trooper transport, and they're gonna escape as well. And we see it, the Imperial base kind of blowing up. Which means that whatever they were experimenting on that base, those they destroyed something.
They destroyed it.
They destroyed something.
Do we see the base blow up? That's the other thing that was kind of vague
Yeah.
and anticlimactic. Do you see it blow up?
We
Okay.
do.
Yeah, but it's kind of a far away.
Right. Well, the
shot.
TIE fighters
You're
are
saying
taking off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a shockwave too that happens.
Right. Abby, anything else on this scene before we move on to where it gets real Star Wars for like 10 minutes? Because it gets
I kind of want to get
Star
on
Wars.
to that next scene, to be completely honest. I don't have anything to add to the speculation on the Jara Snokes.
Okay.
Did anybody think that Cara Dune was going to pull an Ellen Ripley and drive that troop transport into the base and start tearing it through the hallway for some reason? I thought that's what they were setting up, and then she hits the door and she reverses it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, it's closed.
Yeah.
I like when they there's this really funny scene where the three of them, Grief Karga and Cara Dune and Horatio Sands. Can you believe this is Star Wars? There's too much
Star
to keep
Wars.
up with.
Always be Horatio.
They're in the cockpit, and there's this moment where they fly off, and then it tilts down, and they do the whoa, like it's like
Like a ride?
like a ride. And
That's kind of a
And baby,
ride.
you're gonna get sick, just like me, like on the Ferris wheel after too many cotton candies. Like it
right,
really.
and then they destroy his poor speeder. It lands right
Right
on
on top.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yes.
So, anyways, this is where it blows up, and then we got the biker scouts. So let's talk about it. This is a really cool Star Wars land battle. I thought the action was great. I thought the biker, the trooper scouts looked awesome. I thought the special effects and all of the VFX and everything just looked great. It was just a great Star Wars battle. I loved every second of it.
There's not really much more you can say about it. It's just like it is a classic scene. It's like right out of Return of the Jedi, basically, watching those speeders and seeing them, especially getting to seeing the new, like we just said, the effects. It's just the classic.
Right. It's
what you want to see. It's like you need a little bit of it in there.
Yeah.
I found myself like the first time I watched this episode, kind of feeling like it was my least favorite episode in the new season because of that. Because I was like, okay, well, how many times we're just going to watch? I found myself really, really loving like the big weird creatures in the first couple of episodes, knowing that that's not the main plot or what we need to be watching all the time. But it's like, okay, I've seen Stormtroopers 100 times.
You want monsters.
I want something else.
You want giant spiders.
I want more giant spiders, but
Okay.
watching it the second time, and it's like you get so much other reveals in the episode that it makes up for it
Right.
for me.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I like the little plot points, like whether they're battling giant monsters or Imperial troopers, I like that they're advancing the plot because this is the halfway point.
Exactly.
The season's halfway done. Ryan, I saw you chiming in there.
My hand. Yeah, I was raising my hand.
I saw your hand.
I chose not to call on you.
Oh, no. It's totally fine. First I want to give a shout out to ILM Vancouver because they did the VFX for that sequence with the scout troopers and everything. So I thought that was awesome. I also loved how they jumped off the ledge like you're 4 years old on your big wheel going off the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And that, again, too, felt like a ride. That whole scene, again, shot like an amusement park ride. You could feel the butterflies in your tummy when they're all going down there. And another little thing I noticed, too, because this is very typical of the show, is when that first scout trooper gets blasted by the transport, it explodes like the old Kenner toys.
Right.
Yeah,
And I thought that was a really nice touch.
It was a nice touch. There's a lot of. I saw a couple other posts today. There seems to be some like little Easter eggs. I saw. I don't know who posted it, but somebody, was it the Walrus Man action figure? His vest is seen on some of the other characters. And where did that come from? You have a lightsaber in there?
Yeah, it's in the room. I think this was Jake's.
Oh.
What?
We gave a bunch of Star Wars stuff at one point.
That looks a little prequel for Jake.
Hey,
It's weathered.
Troy, what'd you
Carl
think of?
weathered.
don't call me
I was
out.
gonna. Damn it!
Oh, well, there.
Damn it!
Oh.
You guys are funny.
Oh man,
I can't follow that. I can't follow Carl Weathered. How do I?
Oh, I love it.
I mean, I love, and I just want to hat tip to Carl Weathers and everybody that was involved in choreographing that thing, because it felt like a Lucasfilm Amblin chase scene because it had moments of humor. It had it reminded me of the Last Crusade tank chase where like the one biker scout gets past him and gets onto the thing and he's got the thermal detonator and he just happens to walk in front of the cannon like an idiot, and it's like you see Grief Karga go, oh geez, great, boom.
Right, there's some good one-liners and stuff.
It's such a fun scene, and I think that's what this show has the ability to do, is it can continue to harken back to Star Wars and Lucasfilm and Spielberg chases and all of the stuff that we love from these films, and give them time too. Like it's such an inconsequential thing. Like they're just leaving this base. It has nothing to do with the entirety of the story that we know of yet.
Right.
It's not like the big third act climax. Like this is just a cool chase scene that they have a chance to spend 5-10 minutes on in a 33-minute episode too. It was a very short episode. And they left a huge amount of time to it.
Something I forgot to mention earlier, this is kind of a big deal. Mando, they didn't know Moff Gideon was alive. Like we knew, right? We've known since at least the last episode. But they were surprised to hear that. But I love him. He's great. What a great, awesome, scary villain.
Screen presence, menacing.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
What I saw,
obviously the Marshal wasn't doing her job cleaning up that TIE fighter wreck though. Like, hey, Moff Gideon's TIE fighter's back there. Leave it.
It's
fine.
Are you sure he's dead? He looks dead.
Yeah.
We
don't need to check.
Did he?
I'm not walking all the way over there to see if he's dead. All right.
Did Moff Gideon just remove? Did he just cut himself out of that TIE fighter with a darksaber? No, likely story.
No.
That's something else.
He used one of those welders for his toilet or whatever it was.
Right. So okay, they kill the scout troopers, and then here come the TIE fighters. I loved the way the TIE fighter wings. Have we seen that before? The way they kind of like unfolded like that. Maybe we have.
Just in the first season.
Yeah, Gideon's ship when it lands in the first season does.
Okay,
that
gotcha. But it's so cool. They like it's. It was all Star Wars. I get very excited.
Yeah, anytime you see that first person view of whoever's in whatever flying vehicle, it instantly is just the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, it's that sound too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that sound of it. Yeah,
I kind of have to. No, I just have to pinch myself because it's crazy to think where we are. I almost feel like we don't appreciate it enough because we're getting a 35, 40-minute mini Star Wars movie every week for 8 straight weeks. It almost feels callous or it's like we shouldn't even be nitpicking it, but that's what we're here to do.
Yeah,
we're
going to.
But
I'm still giving it 8 credits.
right. We haven't got the really. Every show has at least one really. Every show ever made has one really bad episode. Even Lost, my favorite show of all time, has a couple really
There's some bad ones.
There's some bad ones.
Yes.
So, but
Everybody loves Raymond. That one's got a couple bad shows.
yeah, I'm sure
Always a
that.
couple
Don't
duds.
get me started on that. Don't get me started.
Oh,
There was a discussion in group therapy this week. Somebody said Everybody Loves Raymond was better than Seinfeld, and I almost quit Earth. What's right?
I almost had to shut down the group.
Oh, boy.
is my mom in this group?
So, okay, TIE Fighter battle. They're coming in, and then we see the Razor Crest. This was so much fun. He's taking them out. There's really good aerial photography. The child is doing what we would all be doing. This.
Yeah, another amusement park. The third amusement park ride of the show.
They really fixed that ship.
They
They did a good job on
They
it.
did a good job.
This
Fast.
is the passage of time that I didn't. I was like, how long?
Yeah.
did this have
It was like a new ship.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
because before that, they were in the school for like half a day.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Ryan. You've been cutting out a little
Was
bit.
that
But
in basic?
we got you.
I don't
We got
think
you.
coffee.
We got you. We heard what you said.
Okay.
Was that Canadian?
Yeah, it was a Canadian robot. No, they just buffed it out. They got the rust out and they took the ropes off and it's fine.
They took the plywood off the sides.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Once you remove the netting, it looks pretty good.
right.
Did they work double time just so they could get that tracker installed on there and make
get
it
the
look
tracker.
like, oh
Probably,
yeah, we
yeah.
got this done
Thinking.
really fast.
Right.
Yeah,
The Imperial
That was
mechanics
motivation.
showed up as soon as they took
Yeah.
off, and they're like, "All right, quick."
Right.
they're like, let's do a spotless job so we won't even find the tracker.
Yeah.
Great.
Hey, how'd you guys do that so fast? Oh, it was the craziest thing. We were about to take our first break. We hadn't gotten very far at all.
They're Canadian?
They're Canadian.
Ryan's
Yeah, they're
face starts to
Canadian.
go, oh, Craig's gonna do it.
You wouldn't even
Dave
believe
Thomas
it.
is in Mandalorian.
Hey, so anyways, 3 or 4 Imperial officers show up
Dr.
and they
Holden.
said, yeah, we'll do it, we'll clean it up for you. And,
I mean, I saw
just
him
took a
there
little
with
break,
that
got a
baby.
couple Timbits.
I mean, it was totally fine. And once I saw they went to school there, I kind of knew right there and then. That was the time to put on that tracking beacon,
Yeah.
So,
I said,
so
you guys
now
are,
when he goes for a rip, we'll know exactly where he's ripping to, eh? It's
hey,
gonna be,
and I saw him with
gonna be pretty good.
I saw the guy with the tracking beacon, and I said, you're not going to do anything nefarious with that, right? It's just to keep track because you like the Mandalorian, right? He's a good guy, right? And they said, yeah, it's a good guy. So,
and then as soon as they turned around, I swear he called me a hoser, but can't be too sure there. Had a couple Molsons in me, and you never know, eh? So
oh my fucking lord.
Oh, it's
Abby,
good.
I want to hear your
Yeah.
I want to hear your Canadian girl accent voice.
Oh yeah, hey, it's a holder over there, eh?
You sound like
alright.
Sarah Palin.
I just said,
I
"Wait,
know.
Wisconsin
Oh my
or
god, you
something
can
there."
see Alaska from your house. That's
you
about
sound like Nev Campbell.
Irish. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I should
God,
probably
Campbell.
workshop
You
it.
sound like it's Nev Campbell. That's who you sound like.
Okay, I'll take it.
And
She's
and
cool.
Trish Stratus. You sound a little bit like Trish Stratus.
She's also cool.
She's also
Take that as
Canadian.
well.
There you go.
Oh, okay, and that's
Yeah.
why. That explains it.
That's what.
So yeah, they fixed it. Razor Crest shows up and it's fun. It's just fun. I don't know what else to say.
Essentially.
It's fucking fun. And then
So they fixed the ship.
baby the child Yoda throws up on
Hey.
himself because he's you know what? What I love about the child, he stole all those cookies, but he's pacing himself. He still had a couple left in the sleeve.
He knows how to take it easy.
Yeah, they fixed
Yeah,
the whole
after the
Razor
whole
Crest
egg
before. Yeah,
After the whole genocide that he did, he decided to just,
Right.
chill out a little bit.
Takes
Actually, I want to hear what Troy thinks about Din's dad moment after the kid threw up.
yeah, you gotta tend to some stuff on there.
It's a little too real. It's a little too real. The whole and it's always in the
turn
car,
around.
and it's right after you get a car wash. In this case, he had his car finally fixed up, and everything is looking shiny and pristine. And of course, the kid goes "Bleh," all over.
10 credits.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They really got the
Yeah,
realism down in the new episode of
They
Mandalorian.
do.
Yeah.
Like the whole parenting aspect of this, like Din having to be a parent throughout all of these episodes, like they're really hammering home that, like,
Yeah.
Carl Weathers had to deal with that at some point. He's like, oh, I got this new Porsche, after doing Rocky 6 or whatever, and my kid barfed in it. I want to put that in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was expecting that they need to put a force-sensitive child on board sticker on the back of the Razor Crest.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
M count honor roll.
Oh my god.
Ask about my child's M count.
M count. My child's M count is higher than yours.
Oh my fucking god! It's usually right here about the 40-minute mark where things really go off the rails.
It just goes off the rails.
But then
good.
the episode kind of ends like he doesn't even go back. This is how he doesn't even go chill with Cara Dune or
No. They ask him to. They're like, hey, man, come for dinner. And he's like, hey, nah,
no.
I'm good. I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we feel? Okay, well, before we talk about that, they do cut to Moff Gideon. There's this final scene
Yeah.
where we see him kind of hearing about what's going on, but we see all of these. It's like dark trooper armor.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, is that the going thought? Is that what that is?
I think, yeah, that was my immediate thought, was the dark, because you see like their giant shoulder, like they have that same shape that they had in Dark Forces, and which is weird because of all the things that they could start working into the canon, like Dark Forces was the least of the things I thought that they were trying to get some nods and winks in there too.
Can we talk about Dark Forces for those who don't? Let's pretend I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Let's pretend.
Let's pretend.
Or we're
Let's just
pretending.
pretend for
Let's
a
pretend
minute
I don't know what Dark Forces.
that
Not a
Craig
book.
or me know what Dark
Yeah.
Forces is. So let's just pretend.
Remember, as we established last week, what this show actually is, what it should be called is Ghostbusters fans talking about Star Wars.
I think that is our tagline.
Yeah. Tell me, Troy.
So Dark Forces being one of the games that came out around the time of Doom, Wolfenstein. It was the Star Wars first-person shooter in the 90s, but focused on Kyle Katarn, who was a rebel who was infiltrating the Empire, trying to get the plans to the Death Star, and was Force sensitive. He learns he's Force sensitive in the second game. He trains to be a Jedi. But the whole thing about this is that they have these kind of like Jedi killer dark troopers, and there's several iterations of them, like the big what are they called, the super battle droids? I'm trying to remember what the bigger battle droids in the prequels are
Oh
called.
yeah, they're
But
just
it's
super battle
basically-
droids, like Super Nintendo. There's like 8-bit battle droids, there's
Yeah.
super battle droids, and
Nintendo.
Battle Droid 64, and then there's a Battle Cube.
Cube.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean that was my first thought, and I texted my buddy Jason. I was like, Dark Troopers, really? Because he's a big Dark Forces fan. Yeah, I think that to me that's how I read it, and I saw a couple other articles online that sort of called that out too. But if that's what it is, remains to be seen. What would they need a bunch of Force sensitive Jedi killers for when there's no Jedi left in the galaxy?
Oh, there's some Jedi. There's a big one out there. His name's Luke Skywalker. He's currently training his sister. I'm telling you, that stuff's coming.
Yeah, it has to be. That was an accident.
Oh,
It was an accident.
Jake just touched my
I
leg.
was scratching, and
Jake touched my
touched
leg.
Craig, and he looked. He made it weird. That could have you could have just kept going. You looked at me funny.
That's how Craig and I usually communicate under the table.
Okay. Thank you for that, Troy.
He was like, "Not now."
Thank you for that, Jake.
Yeah,
Everybody, raise your hands. I want to see. I want to see where everyone's hands are.
Dude, we're on the air.
Later, dude. You look good in that sweater.
Yeah. Hey,
Midnight
what sweater? What
Mando.
sweater? What sweater? There's no sweater.
Talking about how good we all look.
So, okay. So that was basically the episode. So it's kind of what I love about it, it's a side adventure that gives us a bunch of great Star Wars moments, advances some really important plot points, right? Because we are now learning that the Empire or the remnants of the Empire are up to something having to do with cloning and utilizing the blood of the child to infuse their clones more than likely with force abilities or whatever.
It's not going to end well.
It's not going to go well. I have a feeling this all ends with the Emperor coming back. What do you guys think?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, dude, do you think that Cara Dune is going to go back to the Rebels?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
the-
we
I do
gotta
for
talk
sure.
about-
Yeah.
That whole part.
We got to talk about
Yeah,
that.
because Carson Teba returns as well. We see the
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's getting the police report from Grief Karga, who's like, oh, I don't know. I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, and why are they hiding that? Why would they want to keep that from anybody too? So that's another thing too.
Well, so I actually thought about that. There's a comment earlier that Grief Karga makes where they're talking about the new Mando mentions I had some trouble with some of the new Rebellion pilots.
New Republic.
The New Republic pilots. And Grief Karga says, I wish, he kind of insinuates like we're peaceful here. They're as bad as the Empire. Like they're out there, I don't think he's as a big of a believer in the Rebellion versus Empire. He's just like, we want to do our own thing. We don't need to be policed out here.
I think his line is like the Empire couldn't settle us. What makes the New Republic think they can?
Exactly, right. It actually kind of goes into like that whole political thing about like, there's always the thing about America going into other countries and saying like we're gonna fix everything, and then it's like we've been there for 30 years and everything's getting worse somehow. No politics. Okay, so but I think that's kind of like what he was saying, and then it kind of makes sense that that's he's not really willing to give that much information to the what's the character's name, the new X-Wing pilot? He's great, by the way. I like him a lot.
Carson Teba.
Yes. So, but then he has this conversation with Cara Dune. There's
It's
just
like,
what?
go ahead. No, it's just the conversation is sort of, the Alderaan thing.
Yeah, the Alderaan thing. Did you lose anybody at Alderaan? Like, bro,
Yeah.
Everybody.
I
everybody-
did,
knew that was
dude.
the next one.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard what happened.
You know that I did.
He's like making it's like the worst.
Oh,
small
you were
talk.
there? You fought an Alderaan? Then you know
Yeah,
the
yeah.
answer to that question.
It's the worst small talk ever. Like, I don't know. It's just like, oh, did you lose anybody at Hiroshima? Yeah, it was really fucking bad.
It was bad.
Yeah. So I think, but will she go back to the rebellion?
I think so for sure. Like, she looks like she gives it a thought, and I think that maybe that's going to be her overarching thing here, is that by the end of this series, we see her as a pilot or
Right,
something.
or like a resistance.
What-
pilot.
Yeah.
What is that medallion that he hands to her? Is that like the rebel equivalent of a Purple Heart or something? Like just it's some sort of an award? What
I don't
is
know.
that he hands to her?
I thought maybe like I don't have a clue, but I was like maybe that's some sort of like recruitment thing. I don't know. I was
Yeah.
like maybe he's like, this is here if you want it.
Yeah. They
Like
do
the
that.
pilot wings.
They do that in Star Wars a lot.
There's a lot of badges being like a lot of badges, a lot of medallions just being given out all the time.
There's that one.
Here's your New Republic challenge coin.
There's the one in Rise of Skywalker where Zori Bliss is like, look what I got. He's like, you got a First Order medallion? That gets you in it. It's a backstage pass to everywhere. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a groupie, so it was easy to get. And I was in the first 5 rows of Van Halen concert, so
By the way, if anybody wants a really interesting backstage rock and roll story, check out Yes Have Some podcast this week where we sat down with Andrew Schaefer. He tells a hell of a Limp Bizkit story. It's well worth listening to. So yeah, I like her. Abby, you were talking about Cara Dune's her rebel tattoo.
Yeah, her like either I've been to jail or I've killed some people tattoo on her face, which
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
is very cool.
Yeah.
Her whole aesthetic and like we've talked, her musculature and like just imposing form is so cool. I think it'd be really awesome to see her take the uniform and kind of clean up. I don't want to say clean up her act, but like find purpose.
Right.
And I think that was kind of hinted at there at the end of
Right.
the episode.
Well, she says I'm not a joiner, just kind of insinuating like I'm it was a lot better than, what's your last name, son? I don't have one. We'll call you Solo.
Pilot. Oh, sorry, Troy.
Okay.
she's
know
like
what
the
though?
Wolverine.
Don't
It
leave.
smoothed over one thing in Last Jedi that a lot of people had objection to was Benicio del Toro's character just being called Don't Join. And so here she is saying, I'm not a joiner, and this character's name was Don't Join.
Wait,
So there
is
are
that why
people
his
out there
name's
that-
DJ?
Is that DJ?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
DJ
I thought
Stanford?
I thought he was a DJ the whole time.
I am never talking about him live again.
Oh yeah. What? Ryan's not allowed to talk about that character because it leads to editing. That's really funny. That was the first time I ever had to call Ryan and say, "Hey, man, you crossed the line tonight."
Stop it. Stop it, Ryan.
We still have day jobs, so
right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I said. So okay, cool. So we covered so much ground. Great episode. I loved so much of it. I love where it's going. We're not going to do the predictions segment because nobody ever has any good predictions. But what I'm thinking is that Ahsoka Tano is in hiding, and Mr. Mando with the Razor Crest and the tracking beam is leading the Empire to her.
Directly to her.
She's not going to be happy about this. But I got to think that Bo-Katan and her crew can't be too far behind as well. So, yeah.
There's a war coming.
Yeah, there is. There's been an awakening. I felt it for the first time in a jar. Did you feel it? Were you in the jar too? No Snoke. No Snoke. Yeah. I can't wait till they finally reveal where Snoke is born. They're like, "Bring me Snoke," and they're like, pouring him out.
The child tries to eat him.
The child's
Somebody get me a gripper.
He's like a little tadpole.
The child
Just
ate
a pickle.
The child ate the first 3 Snoke. Just cut to the child. I love that. That's some good shit.
Oh man, that's good.
All right, Abigail. I'm gonna
Good
throw to
shit.
you right now. Who
Oh
was
shit!
the?
Is it my creature count segment?
Yeah, we're gonna do the creature count. Go
Okay,
for it.
well, this one's gonna be short, y'all, because the only thing that I found in here in this episode that seemed new doesn't have any description on the internet. I looked up the ferret creature,
Yeah.
which Cara Dune feeds, and then he does a little nuzzle. Then he shows up at the end of the episode. He's so cute and adorable, and I don't know what that thing is called, except for she calls him little guy. So
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
call him little guy.
Species.
Space Weasel.
And-
Now,
It's evil.
Yeah, what was the type of species that was there that was trying to eat that? I think you mentioned whatever those things are called.
It's
Troll
It's
or-
Ponda Baba. I can't remember
There you
his.
go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's.
So you got that.
yeah,
That's
you
not
go.
it.
small creature count this week. No
Really short.
giant spiders or crate dragons. Sorry, man.
It's okay.
They're
Yeah,
gonna come
sorry,
back.
about,
they
sorry
can't.
about the lack of kaiju.
It's
It's
all right.
a
You just
tough
can't
one, too.
start off a season very strong with like 2 huge. Episode 1,
Good.
episode 1, Jaws, and then
Episode 2.
then episode 2 is
whatever.
all the spider. The mist.
Alien.
Basically,
Arachnophobia.
it's like, oh, this is the mist.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when he did eat that one out of the egg, it kind of had that stringiness. It kind of made me want nachos, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's gross.
That's gross. I saw Jake crying
What?
today. I looked over after we watched The Mandalorian. You were like, I just thought there'd be a monster this time.
Oh, I thought you were about to. I thought you were about to say I saw Jake cry today when we watched the Lego Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah, I did see Jake cry today. Real quick, did everybody watch that?
Did everybody
Yes.
cry?
It
was great.
It was great. It was really funny and well done. And I still don't think Poe Dameron's living up to his potential. Even in a Christmas sweater, he was letting me down.
I love crazy Poe Dameron who just wants to plan a party. Like that's a great
Yeah.
Poe Dameron I can get behind.
There were some really funny moments in there. My favorite
Oh,
line,
Off-World Jawa.
my favorite moment, me and Jake both died laughing at this moment where, oh God, what is the setup? Luke,
It was.
Kylo says to Luke,
Is it Kylo or is it?
Yeah,
it is
it's Kylo.
Oh, Kylo. He says he says something like, "Oh, it's you. I hate you," or something like that.
yeah, and Luke goes, I don't even know who you are. It was so good. I was like, oh
I
my
don't even know who you are.
Like, as I was
Because it's like young Luke. Yeah.
what I loved about
I was drinking his blue milk.
what I loved about I don't want to spoil
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the holiday special, but the Lego holiday special, it's on Disney Plus. It's on Universal the Universal Pictures channel. No, it's I don't want to spoil it, but what impressed me about myself is I do not consider myself a Star Wars expert. I consider myself a novice when it comes to Star Wars. That's why I have to keep Troy around and Ryan and all you people. But like to understand what's going on in that 45 minutes, you have to have a pretty thick knowledge of at least 11 movies.
There's a lot going
There's a
on.
lot-
There's a lot of like inside jokes,
lot of
and then
inside
just like a
jokes.
lot of it just cuts to everything.
Yeah, it was
there's
really
so
good.
much stuff happening.
It kind of made me want time travel to be canon because how much fun would that be?
Me too. Yeah, me too.
Oh,
I was
thought
a
that
little
was
like,
sequel.
what?
I thought that was a sequel. That just seemed to come right out of episode 9 and just seemed to line up perfectly. So
Yeah. Well, it did. It definitely had more.
Build stuff
There was
in.
more like training in that episode than just like the entire Star Wars saga. It's like, oh, there's some
And
good
yeah,
like
there's
training
been a moment
happening
to be a
here.
yeah, Finn is training as a Jedi, and it's like
Yeah.
that was the one complaint that a lot of people had about Rise of Skywalker. Was like, wid isn't Finn exploring his Force sensitivity in this
Yeah.
movie?
I
Yeah,
thought
so
there was a couple really good missed opportunities. They did not. They needed to make jokes about Rey explaining her last name, and they did. They needed to have a running gag of Finn being like, "Rey, I have to tell you something. I love you." And Force, like just like going back and forth. But anyways. Okay, cool. So why don't we go to our MVP of the episode? I love this segment, and I'm even going to play this noise again because we're going to run through it. Here we go. Ryan Dole, the MVP of tonight's episode of Mandalorian.
I gave the MVP to Carl Weathers himself. He did a great job. His enthusiasm the night before and today, he's just super excited. He's super grateful, super thankful. And it's very true. It's very Carl Weathers. He's very in the center of the screen a lot.
Yes,
And
he is.
and he chewed up every scene. And I loved it. I was here for it, and I really enjoyed it. So he gets my MVP.
There you go. Abigail.
Fantastic nomination. Probably the obvious one here. I'm saying Cara Dune. I thought that she was awesome. It was her return after a while, so she, like I said, commanded the screen and threw elbows and punches and did awesome shit like a wrestler. And I enjoyed her very much in this episode. And I think she's the MVP. I think she did a lot of awesome stuff to save the day.
Cool. Troy.
I was going to say Grief Karga, Carl Weathers for all the reasons that Ryan said, but I will also say the one stormtrooper who goes out to that little island control panel without hesitation and tries to shut the thing down even though the lava is rising and does this,
Yeah.
come on, man, nobody lives forever kind of
Right.
Hey, and there's another
Good
thing
for you,
about that
Trooper.
same stormtrooper. He actually hit something when he shot his blaster.
There you go. Good job.
He gets it.
Good man.
Automatic.
Too bad he died.
All right.
Well,
Like the rest.
Ryan. Jacob Walsh.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry. Ryan already
You
went.
just call me Ryan.
I didn't call you Ryan.
I'm having a hard time telling the difference between me and Ryan as well, so it's okay.
I'll shave next week, okay?
Yeah. This is gimmick infringement.
Gimmick infringement. I think all the best choices have already been stated, and I think it's absolutely Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to say Carl Weathers as well. Grief Karga was great.
He had a lot to do in this episode.
a lot to do. Directed the episode. Fantastic. I'll give the child a runner up because talk about every moment he's on screen.
The dude whose job it is to say the line M count in post prequel Star Wars should get it because he's like, oh fuck, I gotta say it. I'm the midichlorian guy. Okay,
You know what? Props to
Oh, dude, it's so good though.
Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, who had to sit down, and I bet Jon Favreau was like, "No, we're not doing that. We're not bringing these fucking midichlorians."
not
And
doing
Dave
it.
Filoni was like, "No, you don't
Listen.
understand. Listen,
I
my mentor, Georgie boy."
He talks like Craig trying to get attention.
he's
Listen.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes. Listen, I just got off the phone.
Yeah.
Somewhere, I'd like to think that somewhere George Lucas is like, well, I didn't like how they called it the M count because the M count's actually a completely different thing. They Star Wars, in my prequel, my original sequel trilogy to the prequels, it was gonna remember was it the Wills, the Battle of the Wills? They were gonna go,
Will.
yeah.
they were gonna go inside the
That was gonna
midichlorians and explore the world that exists inside the M count. Cool, George. Psychedelics must have been a hell of a time on you in the 1960s. God damn it.
Dude, M Count, that's going to be the name of our band.
I like that.
M count.
Just when you think you couldn't be force sensitive enough, we are M count.
We are M Count. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Every song's about.
M count. M count.
I remember one time when I was a kid, I moved a spoon.
And then I grew up and it became a broom.
And then
Uh,
broom boy, broom boy.
There's my Jedi friend. There's my Jedi friend.
Oh, it's good.
Okay,
hate it.
sorry.
That's some
Uh,
Canto Bites.
Why
Oh,
just
wow.
know the album?
Yeah.
All right, final thoughts. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, we're not gonna do Baby Yoda moment.
Oh shit! I forgot a whole segment. It's time for. Where is it? There it is, the Baby Yoda moment of the week. There he is.
Oh, look at him!
look at
Aw,
Look at that
that's
little
so
guy.
cute.
By the way, he's totally a John Connor or a Danny from TMNT. He's stealing 20s out of Cara Dune's purse.
He
No
is, for
doubt
sure,
in my
yeah.
mind. He's like,
Next episode, he's gonna be playing with that little medallion.
Yeah. I think he ate that kid he stole the cookies from. He's like
killed-
wearing a headband.
He ate the kid.
they're the Razor Crest. He's got the medallion. He's like, where did you get that?
Don't know.
Isn't that Cara Dunes? Did you hear what happened on Alderaan?
He, he would have ate Alderaan.
Troy, the child moment of the week.
the whole thing where he's in the whatever the Star Wars equivalent is of the Jeffries tube, doing the red wire, blue wire thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that was
Yeah.
good stuff.
killed me.
That was good stuff. Abigail.
So cute. I'd say right before Baby Yoda threw up, when he was really living it up, throwing his hands in the air, eating cookies while going loop-de-loo and the Razor Crest. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was the moment I related to most for Baby Yoda, and it was adorable doing it. So.
By the way, I loved seeing the Razor Crest do that one move where it like shut everything down and did like a little like a woo 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 like a float move and then just
Yep.
gunned
Oh,
it.
dude.
So cool. So
Yeah,
cool.
it was cool.
Ryan, Baby Yoda moment.
My favorite part was him in the school when he looked at the kid and said, "Hey, give me one." The kid was like, "No," and he's like, "Yoink!" So that was definitely. And then he's just they're just chewing on him. The kid still has crumbs on his lips. He's like, "The fuck!" And he's already like eaten 3 of them. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Yoda, Baby Yoda eat shit. That's like a damn show. Like this season, I'm
Yeah.
all about him eating. So
Yeah. Maybe that's what he did. Maybe he actually once he eats a substance, he has the ability to force create it. So he's just like, oh, I just finished my sleeve. Here's another sleeve.
Go cookies,
love
go!
that.
Yeah.
And I also love,
Lie.
He looked
I
at
love
the.
all. No, continue.
Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say of all of the foes that Baby Yoda has encountered, he's never encountered the selfish kid in school that
Yeah,
doesn't want
true.
to share.
Right. I know.
He did
Who
pretty
who
good.
You know he got back and he was like, that kid was bullying me. And they're like, what? What was he doing? He was bullying. He's like,
Oh
Just
yeah,
wouldn't
and
give
what
me
about
Choked me out. He
What
choked
about
me
the
out
frog
at one point
ladies?
when I tried to take his
yeah.
cookies back?
what about the frog lady's eggs? They were also
they were looking at me funny.
they were looking at me really weird. They
They calling me names.
They said you were a bad Mandalorian too.
They were like,
So you're a bad Mandalorian. Yeah, they said like the fact that you like don't take off your helmet means you're kind of dumb.
they were like, you will never get this.
By the way, I liked earlier in the episode where they're eating soup and you see Mando have to lift up his helmet.
Oh, dude, we finally see how he does this because
That's the most
he
annoying.
doesn't take his helmet. It is. It's total like he has
That's
to sleep.
stupid.
Oh, Jake, you being new to the show, I asked this about everyone on the first show, so I have to ask you, what do you think the inside of Din's helmet smells like?
Oh, it definitely smells like probably like maybe matted, old, discarded like I imagine like when you go into like a PetSmart and they're like they shave the dogs and stuff. There's probably a garbage bag somewhere of just like a bag full of discarded dog
Dirty
fur.
red dog thing.
Probably like that.
Yeah.
That and hot sauce burps. That's what I imagine.
Han Solo be like, God, kid, it smells like the inside of a Wampa in here. We've been all working on really bad Han Solo.
Yeah, dude, they're all
impressions.
great. They're all terribly great. Hey, kid, you want to clean that thing out once in a while? Because
It's
you
during
smell
John
like
Wayne. It's a
Yeah.
little
Yeah, I was like,
John
that's
Wayne.
John. That's clearly John Wayne.
it's John your cable Wayne.
I think John Your Wade is some sort of Batman crossover. Oh, what was your
What's up?
your moment of the week? Your baby.
It's the vomit, right?
Yeah,
it's got to be the vomit.
Gotta be.
Honestly, the whole thing we talked about earlier, but driving the Razor Crest, like cleaning him off while he like that's hilarious. Like you never got to see Han Solo do that. Like I would like to think that at some point there was a time where young Ben Solo, the future Kylo Ren, is sitting shotgun to Han Solo, and he's throwing up. And he's like, "Damn it, kid!"
And Chewie's just like, "I'm not touching that. You made that kid.
Han Solo,
I'm not
like,
your babysitter."
So you're Ben Solo. I'm Han Solo. You've thrown up on yourself. I'm like, no. If this is the worst thing you ever do to me, then it's fine.
I don't think Han Solo lets little Ben sit in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
No.
I just don't think that happens.
Not at all.
Go see your father.
Leaves him at home with his mom.
But could you imagine Chewbacca taking little Ben Solo to like the Life Day Festival? He's got him on his shoulders.
Yeah.
God, what a tragedy. Yeah. All right. Final thoughts, everybody. We've had a lot of fun. By the way, thank you for the chat. Everyone's doing great in there. Johnny Shoecare says he's got a ship. It's definitely got a poop shoot in a shower. I don't know what he's talking about, but okay.
Dude,
He's
I'm
talking
surprised
about
Mando, when he got off
he's
the
talking
Razor
about the
Crest.
smell.
He got this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
when he got off the Razor Crest, he should have like ran to the bathroom. Like, here's the kid. I gotta go take a leak. I haven't been able to leave like the cabin like forever.
By the way, guys, we're going to leave a few more minutes for some Q&A. If anybody wants us to tackle anything that we haven't tackled, let us know right now in the chat, and I'll get my cheap plugs out of the way, and then we'll round table and end this thing. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining here on Yes Have Some. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We appreciate it. We're doing Midnight Mando every Friday night. Thank you to Ryan and Troy for joining us here at the YHS crew. This has been a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
So... And yeah, if you don't know Yes Have Some Podcasts, you can find us on all of the normal podcast outlets, iTunes, Spotify, all of that. And we're on social media, Twitter, Instagram, at YHS Podcast. And also, Abigail, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Happy 25th birthday.
Oh, you better stop. Thank you. I have had a special birthday. Definitely. Having an episode in Mandalorian come out is...
Sorry for the internet issues tonight, guys. I think we're all cutting out at some point.
Was I cutting out?
Just for a second.
Yeah, you sounded like a battle droid.
Yes.
Roger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Abby, keep repeating Roger. Until it screws up, and then it'll be great.
Roger.
No, okay, I'm done with that idea.
Where are you taking them? It doesn't compute. You're under arrest.
Do you think Ahsoka will show up in the last episode? Do we? Okay, that's kind of.
No.
You think we're going to see her before that?
I think we're going to see her next week because Dave Filoni is directing.
Okay, that's his girl. Any other thoughts on that?
I think maybe we'll see her like end of the second to last episode, so we get a full episode with her on the final episode.
Right. And there's been rumors of an Ahsoka spin-off show, so she will be in the Star Wars future.
You get a spin-off, and you get a spin-off.
Let's see her first before we get spin-off.
I want to see the Razor Crest get a...
I think the internet is more spin-off happy than the actual studio probably is. So
Right,
this person gets a spin-off.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, any final thoughts, and then we can end this thing. Troy Benjamin.
I just want to say hi to Jake because I'm
right
glad
here,
to see that guy.
Hey,
yeah,
me too. Thank you.
I'm glad to have him on this show.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, man. I don't know. This was a great episode. I'm actually starting to get sad that we're getting toward the end already. I'm one of those people that's like, oh no, we only have so many episodes remaining. There's going to be an end coming up here pretty soon. So starting to feel pretty bad about that. But
I'll say this, Troy.
Episode.
There's no way that the year-long wait between season 2 and season 3 will be quite as eventful as the first year. There's no way that next year could be just like this year, right?
Yeah.
Where everything got
probably.
I don't know if you guys heard about this. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the world.
Are you doing a bit?
This is my bit.
And it's pretty impressive that this season is launching a year after the last season because of the amount of time and effort that they have to put into this show, and the fact that they didn't know if they were getting a second season until the show launched on Disney Plus. And so they really, everybody was working overtime. All the VFX people, Ryan mentioned, the ILM Vancouver folks that I'm sure were working double shifts and night shifts and just trying to get this thing done in the middle of all of the pandemic shit that's happening. It's just impressive that we're getting a second season right now, and it's helping. Like this Thursdays, watching the show at night, and then watching it again in the morning, and then talking to you guys on Friday nights. Like that's the light at the end of my tunnel at the week. So I'm just happy as a clam to be doing it.
Very cool. I like
Thank
that.
you, Troy.
I'm happy as
I
a clam
feel
as
the
well.
same.
Yeah.
Abigail, any final thoughts?
I just, similar to Troy, I wish that there were more episodes to come. Not that I want the story to get bloated or anything, but I do love looking forward to these evenings, being able to hang out and talk with friends about something that we love. And it's been really cool to have something new come out. It has been kind of the light at the end of this year, and looking forward to next year. Hopefully things will kind of shake up and change a little bit, but this has been a really good thing to have. And having all of you here, Jake, you included, special.
Thank
Getting
you.
sappy over here.
It's
Ryan,
super
don't be so
bad.
sappy. Ryan, say something crazy.
Okay,
gross.
I'm happy about the clam as well. And I'm also very stoked that Jake is here this week. It's kind of nice that we're all here. It's Abby's birthday.
Family.
And it really does. It feels like, we should all be, it feels like we're in the same room tonight, even though we're not. And it's, tonight was good. And we had a good episode. And man, this show just fucking rules, man.
Well, the last one's not good. Now I feel self-conscious. Ryan.
No, man. This whole show is good.
Good.
Like, and just like Abby said too, like I look forward to Fridays. Like Fridays are now like my favorite day of the week because
Right.
Yeah.
we get to do this, and it's
Right.
so much fun.
It's
Yeah.
almost like there's a thread that's connecting all of us together tonight.
It's almost like a okay.
Like a spider web, like a giant spider web.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really warm.
Yeah, it is a little warm. Jake, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just think there's something to be said about there's this weird so Star Wars is kind of like this weird growing living organism that like when you take it like as opposed to like what the Marvel films are where there's like 15 films put out in 15 years that are all feeling very much the same. When you have 3 separate trilogies of Star Wars movies that are all kind of, for some people, all over the place in what you like or what you don't like, or very, feel so different from one another. And then you have a show like this where they're like, hey, you know what? Let's try to pull everything in together. And you have... Oh, Gypsy's here.
Gypsy's here.
Gypsy's got final thoughts. One of the things that has been on my mind a lot lately is like rewatching prequels and feeling better about the things that have always kind of annoyed me, and the kind of stuff that helps that is like what they're doing in Mandalorian. Like take like what we're talking about with the M count and stuff like that. And Craig, that like recently I was on the phone with Craig recently, and I was like, you know what they needed in Rise of Skywalker? Anakin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not what I think I would be known
Jake
to
called
say.
me, was
Are
like,
you?
Jake was like,
Yeah.
because I was talking about like how there's rumors that the Obi-Wan show is going to be set possibly in 2 different timelines, and we might see like Clone Wars era stuff, and we might get Hayden Christensen, and Jake goes, you know what, hold on, I want that.
I said that.
I totally do too. I want some Portman action to come back. Woo-wee.
It's just like it feels like we're in an era of Star Wars where there's so much old stuff to take, and it's like people who are maybe behind all this are like, you know what, let's take some of the stuff that didn't go over as well,
Right.
like midichlorians, and let's try
Redemption.
to
Make it good.
yeah, exactly. Let's give it a redemption, and let's try to bring it in. And I agree everything what you were saying, Troy, earlier about it and how it kind of takes like the mysticism out of it. But it's like if they're
already there.
if they're gonna figure out, yeah, they've already done that. And if they're gonna try to figure out a way to be like, you know what, let's try to make this work for everybody and go forward in a way that it just feels better.
Right.
That's great to me.
I like Bill Fall Gravity's comment. Why is there 3 of the same people?
I like the fact that I specifically, Craig, when you said you wanted
I was
to
trying
do
to say
the show,
something
I
nice
started
about Star
growing
Wars.
a beard just
Yeah.
so that I wasn't the only person without a beard on the show. 'Cause I knew
All
it was
right, let's acknowledge the let's acknowledge
well, and
the,
Abby.
Let's acknowledge the fact that all white people look the same. Is that
no,
where,
let's
is that where we're
acknowledge
going?
the calamari in the room here. When I messaged Troy and said, "Hey, I'm sending you a sweater to wear," he was like, "Okay, cool. What is it?" I didn't even tell him what we were doing.
just got it
I
and
just
it was-
did it. Listen, everybody. This was fun. My final thoughts are I do love doing Midnight Mando. I love what we do at Yes Have Some. And I love Star Wars, and it's fun to be able to do this every week. It's fun that we've got, I've been saying it every week, to have a piece of Star Wars lore that seems to be universally loved and appreciated, considering what we went through with the prequels and then the sequel trilogy, and knowing that this is a franchise that spans over 40 years now. It's almost 45 years. That's crazy. And you got people who are just gravitating towards it, and Mandalorian seems to be knocking it out of the park so far. I'll be waiting for the bad episode, though. I'm waiting for the bottle episode where it's just Horatio Sands chasing a fly, and you're gonna be like, who directed this one? Oh, Rian Johnson's back, man. He's back.
It's just them and the Razor Crest talking about past shows.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh yeah, the clip show.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, Mando, you've always had a way with words.
Yeah.
It's a clip show that's in place of a finale too, so it's like
Yeah. Oh, like Star Trek Next Generation season 2.
Oh my god.
find out next season.
Well, listen, this was a ton of fun. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We absolutely love hanging out on Friday nights. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We will see you next week. Cue the music for Troy Benjamin, Ryan Dole, Jacob Walsh, Baby the Child Yoda, and Abigail Gardner. My name is Craig Goldberg. I need a haircut. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Happy birthday, Abby.
Good night.
Family sweater.
Midnight Mando is
Thank you.
over.
Thank you for all the birthday wishes.
I still
love
feel
it.
like Stuart Smalley in the sweater.
That's what I'm still in the broadcast.